5 tips to help improve your basic belly dance shimmy. So, if your shimmy does not look as fluid or as relaxed as you would like it to, this video is for you. So let's jump right in. Tip number 1, and this is something I see all the time with students who are just learning a shimmy, is to make sure to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground. So it's really common to see beginners moving their feet something like this. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but they're trying to do the shimmy and they're moving a lot, but what they're moving is more their feet and less their knees. So when we move our feet, then all the energy that we're using, instead of going up into our hips, is going down into the floor and being lost. So when you do this, try to really concentrate on keeping your heels and the balls of your feet on the ground. Your toes should be lightly on the ground, but you also want to be careful not to grip too hard with your toes because then you won't be relaxed. But really the heels especially and the ball of the foot firmly on the ground, and then just start moving your knees. And if you're new to dance, you probably don't have a lot of awareness of what your feet are doing because most of us are not really used to thinking about what our feet are doing. But for dance, it's super important to always be aware of where your feet are, where the weight is. So really try to bring your focus into your feet for a while when you're practicing. You can also try to record yourself to check whether your feet are actually staying firmly on the ground. Or if you have a friend to help you, you can get that friend to come and actually put their hands on your feet and keep them staying down, which I do with my students a lot. So yeah, tip number 1, when you're shimmying, keep your feet on the ground. Okay, tip number 2, again, this is a really common problem or area of difficulty for shimmies, is to try to make the shimmy really even, which means that each knee is moving back and forth at the same speed with the same amount of tension or relaxation or whatever. And this is difficult because for pretty much all of us, our bodies are not even, and almost always one leg will be tighter than another leg, or it might be slightly more turned out or a bit longer. Of course, there are differences between our legs, but we want to really try to minimize those differences when we do our shimmy and understand where we need to release tension perhaps in one leg versus the other. And a good way to check this that I like to use is to actually sit on the floor. This is a great exercise for shimmying for many things. So we're going to be on the floor, and on the floor you bring your legs up and down. You can start nice and slow. And you want to hear that nice even rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2. You can even turn on some music with a nice steady beat, not too fast to begin with, and try to have your legs go in time to the beat. Just make sure the music isn't so loud that you can't hear the sound of your knees hitting the floor, because that's your feedback on whether your legs are even. And eventually, of course, then you speed it up and do it a bit faster, so it'll be double time. And eventually even faster. And that will let you know whether your shimmy is even. Okay, so tip number 3, again, a really big one for shimmies, and I'm sure you've heard it before, is relax, right? Because the shimmy will look bigger and more fluid when we're really relaxed in our stomach, in our hips, in our glutes. That's an area that tends to have a lot of tension. And the more relaxed we can be in those areas, the bigger and the more relaxed our shimmy will look. And we want the shimmy to look relaxed. It shouldn't look like a lot of effort. And in the end, it shouldn't be a lot of effort once you've practiced a lot. Of course, it's very easy for me to just say, relax, and it's much harder to do. I'm sure you know that, right? If anyone tells you relax, probably you do the opposite. So, some tips to help relax. The first one is just to get used to doing a scan of your body and your muscles and noticing where there's tension. You don't even need to be dancing to do this. You could be standing, sitting, even lying down with eyes closed, and just get used to noticing where there's tension in your body, because this is the first step, right, is being aware. Not even necessarily trying to release the tension, just noticing it's there. Okay, another way to relax, or to help you relax, would be to just turn on some music, right? And that can also help take our mind off of all the work that we're putting in, and just enjoy the music and start doing your shimmy. So that can also help. Another big tip for relaxation is breathing. I know it sounds obvious, but when we're concentrating on something new, or on really improving our technique or anything like that, a lot of times we really tend to stop breathing or to not be breathing when we should. So you can try shimmying and really thinking about taking a nice deep breath in for say 4 counts, and then out for another 4 counts, maybe in through your nose, out through your mouth, or even to relax the face, also just keeping the mouth open can also help. So this is another tip to help you relax. And another tip would just be to smile. And then once you're smiling, you might automatically relax a bit. Okay, so tip number 4 is to make sure that your knee movements are really big. Yeah, because a lot of times we might start out with a really big movement. Yeah, from the side, you can see the knees going back and forth a lot. But the faster we get, we might get it really small, right? And we want to try to keep it fast, but still big. And for this, I also recommend, again, sitting on the floor, the same exercise we showed before. And you can put your hands at a level above your knees and try to hit the hands with the knees. Yeah, don't bring the hands down towards the knees. I'll demonstrate to make it a bit easier. So, if I'm sitting down, I have my hands here, and I want to try to hit the hands with the knees. Yeah, and again, you would start slow and then eventually speed up. Yeah, so that can help you get a big movement and still go fast. Okay, so the 5th tip, and this is not a tip that is specific to shimmies, but is really a tip for anything, any movement pattern, or really actually anything at all that you're trying to learn, is to practice every day, or almost every day. Yeah, because when we are, especially for new muscle movements, it's not just the time we spend actually performing the movement that is helping us to learn, it's also the time when we are not practicing, when we're not even thinking about it, but during that time, our brain is actually wiring those patterns deeper into it, right? Like when we're sleeping, so of course sleep is also really important. And so this is one reason that it really helps to not necessarily do a marathon practice session of like 20 minutes of shimmying, that's a bit extreme, even 10 minutes of shimmying, but maybe just 30 seconds or a minute of shimmying. See if you can get it, and then take a break, go on, do something else, and then come again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Also because if the shimmy is not where we want it to be, if we practice it but with too much tension for a long time, we're going to wire it into our bodies. So we want to just practice a little bit, but really good practice, focusing on some of those other tips, relaxing, keeping the feet on the ground, breathing, something like this, not all at once, but maybe one at a time. Do that for just like a minute, and then move on to something else, but then come back again the next day, right? We need that regularity to really build something into our bodies. So yeah, it doesn't have to be every single day, but like 5 or 6 days a week, something really regular is what will help you to get that new movement pattern into your body. So, those are 5 tips to help you improve your shimmy. I really hope that you found them helpful and that at least one of them will help you take your shimmy to the next level. So if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, it would be great if you could just subscribe. And if you want, leave a comment or a question, anything you like. Thank you so much for watching, and happy practicing.